Welcome in. I'm Dr. Aliana J. Moren. You're here with me in one of the 10 exciting books to read, and this is particularly useful if you're in a career transition moment and you're building out your next step career-wise. I'm using this primarily for my capstone students, but you may find that it's relevant to your own career wherever you are. So previously we've offered Sun Tzu's The Art of War as a key read, and then we've had a few others, various reads from, for example, Perry Marshall, 80-20. Now today we want to talk about not so much a specific book, but a principle, that of taking a Sabbath. And by the way, yes, roosters in the background, Hawaii, early morning. It's a Hawaii thing. So, the notion of a Sabbath. Quick story. When I was in graduate school, I was pushing too hard. Periodically, every so often, I'd get sick, and I would just be down for the count for a few days. And finally, I figured out the number of days that I was just waylaid with some sort of exhaustion were equal to the number of Sundays or Sabbaths that I'd skipped and just gone into work and pushed real hard. I started taking one day off a week. Perry Marshall, in his recent newsletter, talks about, and this is for emerging entrepreneurs and CEOs, the importance of taking a Sabbath. Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks about filling your well. Same notion. Talks about the need to replenish our souls. The book that I'd like to suggest for us this week is Wild Mercy by Mirabai Starr. There's a song where one of the key phrases is, take care of your soul. With that in mind, I'm wishing you a great day. See you soon. Thanks for joining me. Let's segue into a little postscript, shall we? We've been talking about the notion of salon being a place where creative genius flourishes. Let's take a look at one of the very earliest environments that fostered creativity. This is the Temple of Inanna, where Enheduanna, daughter of King Sargon the Great, was the high priestess of the great goddess Inanna. Enheduanna's story is particularly poignant and interesting for us because she was the first known author in recorded history. She was the first person to sign her name to something that she wrote. And she was the author of numerous hymns, but in particular, she wrote the Lament to the Spirit of War. The point of this is, we are all currently grieving the war that's going on in the Ukraine and truly empathizing with the Ukrainian peoples. Enheduanna was the first known anti-war protester or anti-war activist in the world history. And that's particularly interesting because the person who was the Putin of her time, the person who was engaging in war, was her father, King Sargon the Great. So it took tremendous moral courage on her part to stand up to Daddy. And she was doing that when she wrote this Lament to the Spirit of War. She also fostered an environment in which a great deal of literary accomplishments came about, and that was because within the temple system and structure, there was room for creativity and literary efforts to flourish. It was the first environment in this world that fostered such creative offerings. It was, in effect, a salon organized by Enheduanna, the high priestess of the great goddess Inanna. So let's bring this home. Literally, Sabbath means to rest or to at least cease from working. It's not quite enough in our day and with the various stresses that we've been encountering to just stop working. We need to enter into our own sacred space. So the question that I leave with you this weekend is, what can you do to create your own sacred space, your own rituals for moving your mind from workaday into more of a rest state and find something that's truly nourishing to your soul? Have a most blessed Sabbath coming up, and we'll see you again. This is Dr. Aliana Moren signing off from Themesis. Thanks for joining us.